Hello, regular knife people. The regular knife guy here, back with his regular knife guy knife channel. Ready for another episode tonight. Tonight is the first video in the series of videos where we'll be covering a full tip-to-tail pimpening, right of a pocket knife, right. This is going to be a Brandon recession, not a recession edition video here, because we're going to be doing a pimpening here on an Ontario RAT2. All right, bang for the buck, probably one of the best EDC knives out there as far as money goes. I mean, you know, overall it has a 3-inch blade, 7-inch, overall length, 4 inches closed, 2.7 ounces, so way below the ounce per inch ratio, and you can get it in Oz 8 and D2. Earlier I had mentioned I was going to be doing this on a D2 RAT. It's still going to be done on a D2 RAT. Amazon just happened to send me an Oz 8 instead of the one that I'd actually ordered. So we have a D2 en route, but I thought we would start this process anyways, and we'll start on the Oz 8, and maybe and when we get down to the end, we'll end up with 2 knives. But for here on out, we're actually going to be doing this on 2 knives. I'll be displaying one of those knives, as through the process, because it's going to be the same regardless of the blade steel. But in the end, hopefully we'll end up with 2 knives or a backup knife if we make some mistakes, right? But tonight we'll be kicking this off. This one here is Oz 8. It's going to be a 3-part video series. We're going to go. It's going to be the trilogy, right? Tonight we're going to start off with some blade modifications and finishes. Next week we'll do the scales. And then the third video will be covering the hardware pocket clip, and then final reassembly. So yeah, my goal is there's mods out there you can purchase. You can purchase pre-made scales. You can purchase anything and everything to make your knife. We're gonna be doing most of this work on our own. I did purchase some deep carry pocket clips because I don't have the equipment or the technology to manufacture my own titanium deep carry clips. But we got some titanium pocket clips coming on, some stainless steel hardware for these guys, and maybe, I haven't decided yet, maybe we'll be doing a full thumb stud replacement. Either way, we're going to have to remove the thumb studs for this. For the modifications, I'm just not sure if we'll be putting them back on. They're decent thumb studs that come on the knife. My plan is we're going to unless I hear otherwise in the comments, I'm going to eliminate the lanyard holes, and then these are going to be made right hand tip up only carry. And because since we're making our own scales, I'm just going to eliminate all the extra pocket clip holes that most of us don't ever use, and it's not a super big lanyard hole, so I'll probably we'll probably eliminate that too. But the RAT, it's very nice, or RAT2 I should say, because there's a RAT1 out there. Super nice little EDC knife. It carries well. It's lightweight. It has a very well designed blade. It holds very nicely in the hand. It's good for a lot of different cutting tasks. It's just a very deep, very good knife. It was an original design by Mr. Randall from Randall's Adventure Training, i.e. the acronym that gives us RAT. And it's kind of a bushcraft / survivalist / EDC self-defense type of school. And this is a design of his. So we'll get to disassembling this guy. It's all T6 body screws with a T10 one-sided pivot. and so we'll get this guy disassembled, and then we'll start doing some blade mods. So yeah. So as I'm doing this here, we'll talk a little bit. I got I was finally able to purchase my tickets for the Blade Show come October 7th. Me and the regular boy child and Mrs. Regular are going to be heading out to Salt Lake City. I'm going to attend the Blade Show West. I hope to do some videos, or at least a video with a compilation of videos from there. It's going to have I know Spyderco is slated to be there. I'm hoping they add some of our more West Coast makers. Tor is going to be there. Southern Grind is going to be there. I'm kind of excited because I've been wanting to take a closer look at some of the Southern Grind knives, as well as a Tor knife. So we'll be taking a look at those guys while we're out there. Hopefully, getting to meet somebody cool over at the Spyderco desk. Either way, we'll get some good footage of that, and I'll post that up. Maybe make a compilation video of everything. And yeah, so it should be pretty cool. I'm extremely stoked. It's been quite a few years since I've been to a blade show. It's recently been moved. It was originally down in Long Beach, and just it's California, right? California prices, California's problems. If it was, I wouldn't have attended had they have not moved it to Salt Lake City. But fortunately, I live about a 4-hour drive from SLC, so we'll just be making the pilgrimage and heading out that way to go check out the Blade Show. Got tickets for both days, Friday and Saturday. We got the early admittance tickets, so we should be able to get in there and hopefully get a first whack at something cool. Hopefully the boy child will be running the camera for us there, and we'll get some good footage. So I'm excited, and yeah, it should be a good time. So yeah, so everything's moving right along. Channel's moving right along. I recently was fortunate enough to be loaned a few hinderers from a good friend of mine. I don't think I'll do a full-blown video on them. I think I'm just going to try out doing some shorts. It'll be right up those with no kind of attention span, right up their alley. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. So you notice one-sided pivot, anti-rotation, which is fantastic. Great design feature. Total, you're looking at a knife, I think, in the D2 steel version with the G10 scales, it sets you back under $40, man. It's what you pay for these guys is a drop in the bucket for what you're getting. A RAT2 is an absolutely fantastic knife. Nothing to take away from it. It is made in Taiwan, so yeah, we're not buying American, but we are poking it and putting it in China's eye, so to speak, right? Got nothing against Chinese knives, and like I said, they're not trying to outcompete us on a world economic scale. They're not planning joint military adventures with Russia, right? They are not the threat to our liberty that China is. And so I have no qualms or heartburn about purchasing products made in that country. Right? So you see, fairly straightforward knife, a little hardware intensive. It has quite a few center spacers there and body screws, right? But not too bad. And you can kind of see here why or how we are able to we are going to be able to replicate these scales. Right, there's not much going on here. They're flat, other than a slight cutout for the lock bar of the liner there. It's not much going on. We're going to be doing these are definitely not G10. These are definitely nylon. So not only did Amazon not send me the D2 version of the fucking knife that I paid for, but they sent me the nylon scaled version of the knife I paid for. So about half the price of the knife I paid for. You know, way to go, Amazon. So yeah, we'll be doing a couple of these. I mean, it doesn't, in the end, it doesn't matter. We're rescaling it, you know. But if I was, you know, I'm spending the money, you know, I would much prefer that they, you know, they sent me what I paid for, or they would have charged me less. One or the other. I don't know what we're going to be doing to the liners yet. I'm not sure if we're, you know, definitely probably going to acid etch them. But beyond that, I don't know. But tonight, for the blade, all right, that's what the video we're covering tonight. The RAT does have a fairly sharp edge up here on the spine, so we're going to chamfer that, or put a slight crown to it. It does have somewhat of a choil, but we're gonna make that a bit deeper. We're gonna cut that down just a bit deeper and make it a much more obvious choil. As well as we're going to polish the blade and remove all the billboarding. I mean, that little Randall's triangle is really cool, but that's too much. We're gonna take that off of there. We're gonna polish the blade out. Then we're going to acid etch it, and then we're gonna stone wash it. I think I've worked out a procedure here for being able to do that on camera without posing any kind of a danger to myself or those surrounding me. And so maybe tonight we'll finally see the acid etch. All right. So yeah. So we basically covered the basics, what we're going to be talking about and doing tonight. I'm going ahead to pause the video, and when I bring you back, we're going to be all set up to do the mods here on the choil. Then after that, we're going to go ahead and chamfer the spine, or crown the spine. I don't know if we're going to do that much of a chamfer to actually call it a crown. Then we'll do a quick polish up here on the blade, and then into the acid it goes. All right. So I'll be back with you guys here in just a few minutes, and we'll be moving on. All right, and we're back. So I got the disassembled, got the thumb stud out, taped off, you know, the shoulder of the blade here past the plunge grind, you know, areas I don't really want to scratch up, because that's where it rides on that's the bearing surface for the pivot. That's where it rides on the bronze washers, or in this case it's a bronze washer backed up with a Teflon washer. We keep that taped off just so that we don't scratch it up. This knife does already have like a suggestion of a sharpening choil. I still, for my tastes, it's still a little bit close to that plunge grind there for the shoulder for ease of sharpening. But there is, you know, like I said, just a slight choil there already. But what we're going to do is we're going to move the actual start of the edge forward just a smidge. We're going to deepen the choil itself just a little bit, and then we're going to clean it up. So for that, because it's not a big full plunge down in there type choil, I'm going to be using an emery cutoff disc to do the majority of the cutting, as opposed to, say, maybe one of the fiberglass cutoff discs. The emerys are a lot thinner than the fiberglass ones, and they tend to leave a much smoother finish. The downside being is they do cut a lot slower, and they are prone to you know, exploding and blowing little pieces everywhere. So if you're doing this at home, please you know, please put on some safety eyewear. Yeah, because your vision is not worth the not putting on some plastic glasses. I mean, you know, 3 minutes of effort to save yourself a world of pain. You know, years back when it was just the regular guy and Mrs. Regular Guy, and long before we'd had children, we were living in a tiny little apartment, and the regular guy had decided that he would manufacture his own AK-47. We were stationed in a very northern part of the United States where there was snow on the ground for what seemed like 9 months out of the year. And for lack of anything else better to do, I decided that I was going to manufacture an AK-47. It actually did work and fire. Unfortunately, during part of that process, while I was cutting out portions of the receiver using my Dremel tool, I had ignored the Mrs. Regular Guy's suggestions and did not put on my eyewear, and I caught a bunch of metal in my left eye, and it caused a lot of severe scarring and a lot of eye issues since. So please, don't follow down my path, and please wear the requisite PPE. So pause the video here. I'm not going to make you watch me go through all this because the rotary tool is going to be obnoxious, and you guys don't want to listen to that. And I'll bring you back once I've got the choil cut, and then I've got this thing, and I'm all set up for doing the crowning, and then I'll show you the choil that I made. All right. All right. Welcome back. So we've got the choil completed. Let's see if I can get a good on there. So we've got a new, much more deliberate sharpening choil cut in there, and moves the cutting edge just a little bit forward here, giving us plenty of room to sharpen this thing without running into the shoulder. Right. So we're getting ready to do. We're gonna end up. I got it all taped up. Got the edge taped up here, so I don't cut the crap out of myself. And we're getting ready. We're gonna do a quick crown on the spine here. Maybe not a full crown, but we're definitely gonna break the edges because they're pretty sharp, right? So we're gonna be breaking the edges there, at least doing a kind of a half-ass crown. We're going to be using my Work Sharp for that. This is the Work Sharp Ken Onion edition with the knife grinding attachment. Fantastic piece of kit. I use it quite a bit for resetting bevels, major blade repair. For instance, my son likes he does a lot with the bally songs, and so he's constantly dropping them on the ground and inadvertently putting putting new choils along the blade where they don't belong. But this will remove a lot of steel quickly. And so I use it for a lot of my heavy duty work before I move on to my my TS Prof, for the more precision part of the sharpening. It is a great tool for sharpening. However, it does remove a lot of steel quick, and so I would be very careful if this was going to become your primary sharpening implement. You can grind a knife away down to the nubbin, fairly quick with this machine. With the pass-through sharpening attachment in place of the knife grinder here, it's a absolutely fantastic tool if you have a lot of knives to do and you're not worried about scratching them up. So for instance, your mother-in-law's drawer full of kitchen knives, with the pass-through attachment, this thing is amazing. It gets you done in about 30 minutes. But just keeping in mind, you're probably going to be adding a couple of new scratches to those blades. The pass-through is made out of plastic, and over time, grit and sharpening slurry does like to get embedded in there. And so when you drag your blade there through the pass-through, it'll definitely scratch it up just a little bit. But for this freehand grinding, repairing or adjusting the bevels, the sharpening bevels, this thing is amazing. I love this tool. There are an absolute plethora of grits and grit types that you can get for your belts for this. From I've got let's see, what do I got right here? I've got an ultra fine 10,000 Trizac grit for polishing. I've got a leather belt for doing for stropping it, power stropping it. There's they make a lot of the belts in very high end grits that are normally hard to find for some of the other belt platforms are available for this sharpener. And that's what makes it really utilitarian and user friendly. Right now I just got a cheap semi-worn 80 grit aluminum oxide belt on here, and that's what I'm going to be using to break the edge of the spine, or to do the crown. And that's just because I'm going to go back behind this and do, I'm going to smooth it out and even up the finish here when I go ahead and polish off the billboarding and stuff that's here on the blade. All right. So I'm going to get this thrown on the grinder here and get those edges taken off. I'm going to use the grinder on its lowest settings just to give me, just to lower the amount of oopses here. But it's extremely loud, and grinding noises over video are pretty obnoxious. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'll bring you back here once I've gotten all this accomplished. But I guess I can essentially here, I'll show you the technique here before I go ahead and pause it. But we're going to go ahead and turn the grinder on, and we're just passing it through there at an angle, just enough angle that we're wanting to break the edge there. We're going from the very beginning of the jimping up towards the tip. All right, I will bring you guys back when I've got it done. All right, and we're back. All right, so I don't know if we can see that really good here. Let me see under the camera. But as you can see, we got a really good, got a nice crown on it. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Took it right down and rounded it off, and we've now got a nice soft crown on the back of that edge. The spine on this blade here before we crowned it was pretty damn sharp. The only really sharp edge on the knife, besides the edge that belongs there, yeah, the rest of the knife is finished off really well. It just had a real sharp edge there on the edge of that spine. And if you're carrying it tip up in your pocket, you're reaching in, the last thing you want to do is squeeze your hand past that sharp spine. So a crowned edge is nice. Yeah, so I took it down with that semi worn out 60 grit belt there on my work sharp, and then I put a Trizec extra fine belt on there just to kind of finish it off and smooth it out. So yeah, so now we're gonna move on to doing not really a polish, but evening up the finish on the blade, and then we're gonna try to remove that billboarding that we got right here, that Randall's. Right, we're just gonna even out the finish, all over the edge, from the shoulder forward here, and then get it ready for the dip in the acid bath and the stone washing. So we're going to be using these aren't a 3M product. These are a Chinese knockoff picked up on Amazon. They are a 180 grit treated polishing bob, and these do a good job. They kind of give you that slightly shinier than brushed finish the 180 grits do. And so we'll even up the finish here on the blade. We'll grind out or polish out the billboarding, and then once I'm done there, I'll see if how I like the overall finish, and if it needs to be touched up from there, then I'll go. I've got a 1,000 grit treated felt bob here that I can then run over it with my rotary tool and make it just a bit shinier. I'm not sure if I'm going to need this or not yet. We'll see once I'm done with the 180s. Either way, I'll get to cleaning it up here, and then once I'm done with that, I'll bring you guys back once I'm all set up for the acid wash and stone wash. All right, I'll see you here in a few. All right, we're back. So I ended up working it up all the way from the from the 180 grit to a 400 to a 600, and then I finished off with just that 1000, just to get out any scratches and make the finish as even as possible here. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to dip it in the acid, and then we are gonna stone wash it. So whatever you can do, just to kind of even it out. That's all we're shooting for. I was able to get out the etch here, get out the RAT, the Randall's Adventure, training, whatever logo here in the blade. I was able to get the finish matched up here on the crown, so that way when it goes into the acid and it'll be a consistent color here. After that, after I did the polishing, it then went and got scrubbed out in the sink. Oh, excuse me, scrubbed it out in the sink with some dish soap and my wife's toothbrush, and then it got a dip here into the Jarrow acetone here for a couple of minutes, just to get all the greases and oils off of it. And then I masked off all the bearing surfaces, anywhere where like the bronze washers are going to contact the detent track, where that's going to be, and then where the lock, the face of the lock bar is going to ride. I masked those areas off, and when I say masked, I mean I painted them. I use a oil-based paint marker to mask those off. I found that it just provides a neater job than like fingernail polish. The fingernail polish is what is usually recommended for masking. I've been using the paint marker here for quite a while, and I don't have a problem with it. The other big advantage, it dries a lot faster. So you're not, you're just not waiting around twiddling your thumbs and drinking too many beers to finish out the process here. So what you see in front of you, obviously we've got the blade ready to go. I've got just my little dipper / holding tool here. I bent it. It's out of the titanium wire that I use for anodizing titanium. We've got the paint marker here. We got the degreasing jar of acetone. I've got just a little tub here with water and a lot of baking soda in it. Of course, I got the wife's toothbrush for scrubbing it clean. Over here is this was the legal electric rock tumbler. This was like the cheapest rock tumbler I could find on Amazon. I think it was like $40 shipped, so not bad at all. And then I've got this is a couple of pieces of the media that I have in the tumbler. This is the Harbor Freight ceramic tumbling media. I think it was like $20 for a big jar of it. And that's what I use about a third of the way full in the rock tumbler. And then just a little bit of water, and then of course some extra baking soda, just in case I don't get all the acid neutralized in the bath. Just kind of a belt and suspenders approach. And this is my setup for acid washing and stone washing. By far, you don't really need all this stuff. In the beginning, when I was doing this, I had I would use, they're called marble chips. They're like a decorative stone. You can get them from your Home Depot for like $8 for a 50-pound sack. But I would put a couple of handfuls of those into a plastic mayonnaise jar, top it off maybe 2/3 of the way up with water, and then I would throw my blade in there, screw the lid on tight, and then I would toss it in the washing machine and let it go through with a load of wash. And I got pretty good results with that. So really the only thing I gained really with this setup here is a little bit more consistency. And it's a little bit slower, or it's a little bit less aggressive than the rocks in the washing machine were. But so it allows me to just kind of periodically shut it off, check on it, and look at the level of scratches that I'm receiving, and then let it run for longer, or if it's done, take it out. Basically, it just makes the process for me just a little bit more consistent. So you can see I've got my PPE on here, my nitrile gloves. for a couple of reasons. One, you don't want any of this ferric chloride getting into cuts. This shit will burn, burn, burn. You don't want it on any non-ferrous kind of metals like copper or brass, because this will just literally dissolve it right before your eyes. It's a little bit. It's an acid, but it's a little bit. It's not as an aggressive of acids when used on ferrous metals such as steel and iron. So it's a little bit easier to control the process and to get a little bit more consistent results. I've got mine here in a ball pickle jar, and it's just to make the process easier. So I'm not pouring it in and out, of a dish with a funnel and all that stuff back into the bottle. And the less I can handle this stuff, the better. By far it's not the worst acid out there, but it is still an acid. It is still some pretty nasty stuff, and so you do want to take precautions, right? So after I've got my blade all masked off and dried, I'm just gonna hook my little holder tool to it, and I think I might actually try to video this whole process because this is Oz-8 steel. Oz-8s and D2s, they tend to etch a lot faster than do like some of the super steels like S30V and stuff like that. So maybe we'll be able to get this whole process here on film. And essentially all I'm going to do is set it down on the acid and let it sit, and periodically pull it up and just kind of check it for the level of darkening and the darkening that I want. So without further ado, here we go. Periodically I'll swirl it around. That acid, as it etches the metal, it'll kind of build up a membrane on the metal, and that will slow down the etching process. So you just kind of want to swirl it around periodically just to make sure you're getting good consistent coverage. And then after about a minute or so, we'll pull it out and take a look at it and kind of see how it's progressing and whether or not we need to leave it in there longer. Ferric chloride is an acid that will, the warmer it is, the more aggressive it is. So if it's, if you have it in the house and you've got your thermostat set to 72 degrees, and at 72 degrees, it's going to be a much slower process than if you were, say, doing this out in the garage where it's 180 degrees. The warmer this ferric chloride is, the more aggressive an etch it's going to give. And that's really what we're doing, is we're etching the metal, we're darkening it. We're turning the iron, the ferrous components of that steel black. So you can see we've already got an oxide layer starting to build up, starting to turn that little bit slightly darker gray. Unfortunately, that RAT2 symbol there that we worked so hard to etch out or to polish out has come right back. So that's kind of, hopefully here with some leaving it in the jar for much longer, that will that will go away. That's a little disconcerting that it came back, but I thought we'd polished and ground that out, but I guess not. But yeah, well, it is what it is. Maybe we'll do better on the next blade. We got that D2 one coming still that we're gonna do too. So maybe Amazon screwing me is gonna be a blessing in disguise here. I don't know. All right. So we'll check on the progress one more time. If it looks like it's going to take a little bit long, I'll pause the video, and then I'll come back here once we got it all done and out of the tumbler. I mean, it's a pretty unexciting process after this. It just goes into the water, solution here, gets scrubbed clean, then it gets thrown into the rock tumbler, and then it just gets tumbled until it's done. So that's usually my bathroom break time, or time to go, grab another beers when I get it into the tumbler. So we'll check the progress here one more time. If it's not speeding along, then we'll pause the video and come back. So it is turning dark. It is getting dark. I want to get it darker than what we can see of that RAT2, the Randall insignia there. So it is getting darker. We're going to leave it in here for a little bit longer, for probably, looking how it's progressing, I'm going to leave this in here for a good another, probably 5 minutes, right? And then we'll progress from there, and then I'll bring you back. All right, we're back. So it's out of the acid bath. I let it soak for about 7.5, 8 minutes. And then then I neutralized it, in the baking soda and water. Um, it looks a little blotchy now, but that's because it does have a kind of a rough texture to it. And some of that texture is still holding water and it's not completely dry, so it'll have kind of a little molted look. Plus, it's going to want a little flash rust in areas too as well. So I try not to leave it out in this state for too long. I try to get it, once I've got it rinsed off and washed and scrubbed clean with the toothbrush, I try to throw it into the tumbler here as fast as I can. And nothing special, right? I got the tumbling media, a little bit of baking soda, and a little bit of water in there, and then there it goes, right? And then that's it. I secure the lid, I throw it on the tumbler, and then I just let it go. I check it probably about every five-ish minutes or so, just to kind of see and check the level of stone washing. And then when it starts getting consistency to it, when there's the whole surface gets completely covered in the little micro scratches and stuff, then I'll pull it out and move on. But I just kind of wanted to show you what it'd look like after it comes out of the acid and before it goes into the tumbler. So I'm going to tumble it, and then I'll remove it. I'll clean it up, oil it up a little bit, or what I like to use is right after I've done the tumble, I like to use a product called Renaissance Wax, and it's a microcrystalline wax polish. It was actually it originally came from museums, and it was originally designed for restoration and preservation of stuff like American long rifles and old firearms and swords and stuff. And it's a microcrystalline wax, and it's a neutral, pH neutral, so it'll prevent rust, and it just kind of helps even out the finish. And what I do is I slightly warm the blade up, give it a good thick coat, let it set for a little bit, and then wipe it clean. And it helps, and it protects it, and it lasts a long time too. But I'm just getting that little bit of preservation in there to help protect the blade, and it does help with the getting the color even, and it also helps prevent darkening. Like sometimes you like a real high iron or a real high carbon content steel, like a MaxMet, 3V, those D2, those style of steels. If you don't do something to protect that steel and you just let it go in the state that it is after it comes out of the acid wash, it's going to rust on you and you're going to get stains. So I like to use that Renaissance wax as soon as I can, and that'll help protect it and put a protective film on there to prevent any kind of post tumbling rust. All right, so I'll bring you back here once I'm all done, cleaned up, and gotten rid of this ugly blue mat. All right, and we're back. So just at about 14 minutes or so in the tumbler before I actually pulled it out. It came out spectacular. Let's see if I can get this in focus here, and you guys can really take a look at how that came out. But that's Oz-8 steel, so roughly 5 minutes in the ferric, 15 minutes in the tumble, and that's what we got. All the billboarding, all the branding gone, right? Nice consistent finish, nice consistent scratch pattern throughout, with just a few little deeper scratches and artifacts to make it interesting, right? To me, that's what I want to see in a stone wash finish. I know some guys like more deep scratches on it, and that's fine, right? And you can use the setup that I'm using. You just throw in a half a handful of those marble chips, right? Or some jagged rocks you find in the yard, right? Broken glass works really good. And so if you really want to have them really deep, shiny scratch, that random scratch pattern, those are good to throw in there with it. I like the more micro scratch, consistent scratch pattern that I get from that ceramic tumbling. The crowning blended in, the choil blended in really nice. No dark splotches, no dark spots. Very, very even, very consistent with a very, very nice scratch pattern. Extremely pleased with how this one came out. So the only thing left to do on it now is to put a new edge on it. I'm thinking, because it is a thinner blade stock, and it's only a 3-inch blade. I think I'm going to do a 17-degree sharpening on it. Normally I would do 20, right? And 20 is not because I think it's inherently better as far as edge retention and strength goes, but that's because that's what the sharp maker, right, is set at, is 20. And I always like to keep my knives at 20, just in case, the power goes out or whatever. You can always throw it on the sharp maker and get it sharp. But I think I'm going to do this one at the 17 because it is a much thinner blade. It's very thin, behind the cutting edge here, and I think that deeper bevel that we're going to get with that 17-degree edge is going to really make this knife pop. Especially when you got that nice deep, edge bevel, mirror polished. So I'm going to throw this in the prof and get it all sharpened up. I won't make you guys sit through all that because it will take me a good hour and 20 minutes or so to put a good edge on this thing. But I'll get the edge put on, and then I'll bring you back, and then we'll close this video out. And episode 1, a new Pimpening. All right, we'll be at a close. All right, so go ahead and stand by. And we're back. All right, 3 beers and an entire Pink Floyd album later, we are back. We have cut a new bevel, put a new edge, a nice mirror polish on. Hopefully the camera picks that up, but that is a mirror polished edge on that guy. Look at that. So yeah, overall came out pretty good. The acid removed all the billboarding that we didn't polish off. Maybe I would have liked they've kept the steel and the country of origin on it, but it's a RAT, right? We already know where it comes from and what it's made out of. Maybe a little lighter on the acid etch than I would have liked, but it's R.A.T, right? It's what R.A.T gives up to D2, in edge retention, it gets in corrosion resistance, right? R.A.T is a much more corrosion resistant steel, so therefore it's going to be harder to acid etch, but boy, it turned out good. I really, really like how this turned out. This is going to be a great set of videos. So yeah, so just to recap, right? Right. Let's see here. Let me get up and get behind the camera, so I'm in focus here. I've been watching some YouTube videos on how to make YouTube videos, so so let me get something here I can point. All right. So tonight, what we accomplished, we cut in a new choil, right here, sharpening choil. All right, we polished out and removed all the billboarding. No billboarding on the blade. We cut it into, we ground a crown in the spine. All right, and then we cut a 17-degree bevel on it and put a mirror polish on it, as well as the acid etch and stone wash. Alright, so that is the blade of our Project RAT2 knife. Again, next week we'll be doing scales. There's not a lot of milling on the inside of RAT scales, so they should be fairly easy to replicate. And so we'll be doing some scales. It should be a pretty good time. Total cost so far, right? Had Amazon charged me the correct price for this particular knife, it would have been $30. you know, give or take a plus we got a 6-pack of beer consumed, right? So you know, we are definitely on track to be well underneath the $75 mark for this knife, right? And we are definitely going to end up with a knife that is, you know, nice, uniquely ours, and one that anybody should be proud to have in their pocket. All right. Before we go, just like to say I greatly appreciate all my new followers. Yeah, I mean we're getting up there. I got a whole bunch of new subscribers, man, and I'm grateful for them. You know, my a couple of my videos are starting to run up there in views. You know, and yeah, man, this has definitely been an awesome experience, and I'd just like to say, you know, thank you, to you guys, and if this is your first time, or if you've seen a couple other of my videos, but you want to see what's coming up, right? Go ahead and subscribe, man. We got 2 more in the series on this one coming up. I'm gonna do some new short videos starting next week, just some shorts on probably gonna start with hinderers, since I got 3 very, very nice ones on loan. Coupled with my 2, right? We'll do some shorts, do some hinderer love. But yeah, you know, if you know, if you like what you saw and you want to see some more, please go ahead and click down there and subscribe. If you liked this video, you know, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Let me know you guys care, and yeah, I greatly appreciate it. So it's already here pretty late in the night. This, you know, what ended up probably being less than an hour for you ended up being about 6 hours for me. This has been a pretty long haul, but I appreciate you guys coming along with us, and yeah, I wish you guys all have a good night. This is the regular guy and the regular guy knife channel, and we're out.